This is JonBenet Ramsey. She was a 6-year-old pageant queen who was found missing on December 26, 1996, and later that day found murdered in her own home. It's been 25 years, and still no one knows who killed JonBenet Ramsey.
Who killed JonBenet Ramsey?
Who killed JonBenet?
Who killed JonBenet Ramsey?
Who killed JonBenet Ramsey?
Early morning, December 26, 1996, in Boulder, Colorado, JonBenet's mother, Patsy Ramsey, got up to brew some coffee. Instead, she found a 2.5-page ransom note demanding money for the return of her daughter. Immediately, she called 911.
Police, what's going on? 5515th Street. What's going on there, ma'am? We have a kidnapping.
Shortly after, police, along with family friends, flooded the house. Around 1 p.m., Detective Linda Arndt instructed John Ramsey to search the house to determine if anything was missing.
Look for anything that might belong to JonBenet that is in place where it shouldn't be.
John, along with his friend, went straight to a small room in the basement to find a dead JonBenet Ramsey lying on the floor. JonBenet was found with her mouth and neck duct taped, as well as tied up and strangled by a garrote. John Ramsey then took the duct tape off the child's mouth and carried her up the stairs, tampering with any evidence that was there. A blanket was then used to cover the body, further contaminating the body and the evidence.
In the 25 years she's been gone, there's been endless speculation about who did it.
Was it the mother, Patsy Ramsey?
I did not kill JonBenet.
The father, John Ramsey?
I did not kill my daughter, JonBenet.
The brother, Burke Ramsey?
Did you murder your sister, JonBenet?
No.
Or was it an intruder all along?
An intruder had committed this homicide.
There are many intricate details to understand the JonBenet Ramsey case. So first, let's talk authoritative mistakes. First, police did not secure the crime scene.
The house is full of people. And so this is a crime scene that is now being destroyed piece by piece.
Second, the ransom note was being passed around and being reviewed by multiple people, contaminating a crucial piece of evidence. The police also initially accepted that the crime was a kidnapping rather than experimenting with other possibilities.
We have a kidnapping.
There were no apparent signs of forced entry to indicate that this was a kidnapping. The police also failed to complete a thorough search of the Ramsey house.
He should not have been allowed to search that house by himself. He could have tampered with evidence without even knowing that it was evidence. That's a critical mistake.
JonBenet was located in the basement inside the house. The police, not John Ramsey, should have found the body.
And I opened the door and there's JonBenet.
Boulder police also did not formally question the Ramseys, suspects of the murder, immediately. They allowed the Ramseys to grieve for a few days before asking for an interview. The Ramseys received copies of the ransom note and transcript of the original conversations with the police. Thus, the Ramseys were able to keep their story exactly the same. The Ramseys were also interrogated together rather than separately. The ransom note proves to be the most obscure piece of evidence within the JonBenet Ramsey case. The length of the note alone raises the most suspicion.
A ransom note is not that long. A ransom note says, I have your child, I want $1 million, I'll call you later. This is 2.5 pages long. Whoever does that?
This note was also written using a pen and paper from the Ramsey household. Thus, the intruder would have to have taken the time to write this lengthy ransom note inside the Ramsey household. The kidnappers demanded $118,000 from the Ramseys, which is the exact amount John Ramsey received as a Christmas bonus that year. This indicates that whoever wrote the ransom note had to have been close enough to the family to know the amount of John's bonus.
John Ramsey got a bonus from his company for $118,000. How many people knew that? I'm going to guess not a lot of people.
Words in the ransom note, such as business and possession, were misspelled, and expert forensic linguists believe this was done intentionally.
It tells me that what we're dealing with was a disguised writing.
This ransom note also had several similarities to ransom notes seen in movies.
If we catch you talking to a stray dog, she dies.
If you talk to anyone, I don't care if it's a Pekingese pissing against a lamppost, the girl dies.
Don't try to grow a brain, John.
Do not attempt to grow a brain.
The 911 call is the second piece of evidence.
Oh my God! Please.
Okay, I'm sending an officer over, okay?
Please.
Do you know how long she's been gone?
No, I don't. Please, we just got out. Is she right here? Oh my God, please.
Okay,
Please, somebody.
I am, honey.
Please.
Take a deep breath for me, okay? Patsy?
Some believe that after Patsy attempted to hang up the phone didn't disconnect. They claim that 3 voices, Patsy, John, and JonBenet's brother, Burke Ramsey, can be heard in an enhanced version of the audio tape. The third piece of evidence is the undigested pineapple found in JonBenet's stomach. The Ramseys told police that on the night before the body was found, JonBenet was immediately carried up to bed by John Ramsey. They also noted that Burke went straight to bed as well.
I carried JonBenet upstairs. He was asleep when we got home. I put her to bed. I got Burke to bed, and I went upstairs and I read for a few minutes before I fell asleep.
However, the autopsy of JonBenet Ramsey revealed undigested pineapple in the contents of her stomach. Therefore, just a few hours before her murder, JonBenet consumed fresh pineapple. A bowl of pineapple filled with milk was found at the crime scene with both Patsy and Burke Ramsey's fingerprints.
But when the girl's stomach contents were removed, the coroner discovered JonBenet ate pineapple a few hours before she was killed.
JonBenet's murder was quite violent as she died from asphyxiation due to strangulation and a skull fracture.
Only a partial version of the autopsy report has been released. It confirms JonBenet was strangled, bludgeoned, and there were scrapes and bruises on her face and body. The coroner also found abrasions in her genital area and indications of chronic inflammation of the genitals. Some experts claim that could be a sign of long-term sexual abuse.
A makeshift garrote was made by using a broken paintbrush from Patsy Ramsey's collection in the basement along with a cord. This cord tied JonBenet's wrists together and was wrapped around her neck. The cord from the garrote left deep cuts into the back of her neck and on her wrists. Lastly, her bladder was empty and there was urine stains in her underwear when found, leading to the conclusion that on the night she died, she had wet her bed.
I want to say something to the person or persons that took this baby from us. The list of suspects narrows. Soon there will be no one on the list but you.
The Ramseys. John and Patsy Ramsey became the main suspects in the JonBenet Ramsey case early on. Police found the ransom note to be oddly suspicious, as well as few signs of forced entry.
There are no signs of forced entry at the family's home, leading detectives to wonder about John and Patsy Ramsey.
The couple were also not very cooperative with the police.
What has been delayed has been this formal interrogation of us as suspects. And frankly, we were as you might imagine, insulted that we would even be considered suspects in the death of our daughter.
Without the police's knowledge, the couple gave an interview on CNN just a week after JonBenet was found murdered.
The note was lying across the 3 pages across the run of one of the stairs.
It was also noted to be strange that on the day of the incident, the couple stayed mostly separate. The ransom note said to expect a call between 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. that day, and the couple let the 10 a.m. deadline roll around without any question.
Police officers were leaving at 9:30 and 9:45 before that time period of the phone call had even expired.
DNA evidence found on JonBenet's underwear exonerated the Ramseys as it did not match.
New technology helped exonerate the Ramsey family. Touch DNA analysis found the DNA of an unidentified male on JonBenet's long johns. It matched DNA that was found earlier on her clothing.
However, an analysis of new underwear straight out of the package showed foreign DNA. Therefore, the DNA may or may not have belonged to the killer.
Certainly possible that an intruder was responsible for the murder, but I don't think that the DNA evidence proves it.
The only way I can describe this evidence is uninformative. It really is, it's not dispositive of the presence of a perpetrator. There is foreign DNA, but that foreign DNA can easily be accounted for by a number of innocent mechanisms.
A jury voted in 1999 to charge John and Patsy Ramsey with child abuse resulting in first-degree murder of their daughter. But the district attorney refused to sign the indictment as he believed there was no substantial evidence against them.
In 1999, a grand jury, after meeting over a year, believed there was enough evidence to indict John and Patsy Ramsey on charges of child abuse resulting in death. But District Attorney Alex Hunter refused to sign off.
That I and my prosecution task force believe we do not have sufficient evidence to warrant the filing of charges.
Patsy Ramsey. The theory behind Patsy Ramsey murdering her daughter is built around an incident of bedwetting.
Thomas says JonBenet awoke after wetting her bed, something that enraged Patsy.
Patsy would not be the first mother to lose control in such a situation.
Thomas said Patsy most likely slammed JonBenet's head against something hard, like the edge of the bathtub in her bathroom.
Linguists of the 911 phone call state inconsistencies in the verbiage that Patsy used. Handwriting analysts broke down the ransom note and suspect Patsy Ramsey wrote the note.
In this case, I found over 200 similarities between Patsy Ramsey's handwriting and the ransom note.
John Ramsey. Detective Linda Arndt found John Ramsey to be suspicious on the day of December 26, 1996, when she met him at the door of his home.
How did he strike you?
Cordial.
Cordial?
Mm-hmm.
Upset?
Cordial.
She also noted that when the two were both leaning over JonBenet's body, she felt a sense to count the bullets she had in her holster because she felt she may need to use one.
Tucking my gun right next to me and consciously counting I've got 18 bullets.
Why did you do that?
Because I didn't know if we'd all be alive when people showed up.
Another detective, Bill Palmer, overheard John call his pilot to arrange a flight to Atlanta approximately 30 minutes after carrying his daughter's body up the stairs. That same morning, John Ramsey allegedly went missing for at least an hour. He told officers that he went to pick up the mail, but the Ramsey's mail got delivered to the door. Burke Ramsey. The theory behind Burke being the killer goes as follows. Burke was eating pineapple as a late-night snack, and JonBenet came to join him. Burke got angry with JonBenet and struck her with a nearby flashlight, killing her by accident. One or both parents consequently covered up the crime in fear of losing another child.
I mean, would you eat a snack before you went to bed?
I might get a snack.
What about pineapple? Did she like pineapple?
Yeah, she liked pineapple.
A flashlight was found on the crime scene near the bowl of pineapple that had Burke's fingerprints on it. People also suspect that the marks that were originally thought to be from a stun gun could also line up with the marks left by Burke's toy train track.
Would you ever go downstairs in the basement and play?
Yeah, I had a electric train there.
Jim Clement, an FBI special agent, said Burke had a history of scatological problems. Burke's feces had been smeared in JonBenet's room and on a box of candy she had gotten for Christmas. Judith Phillips also stated that Burke hit JonBenet in the face with a golf club about a year before the murder. An intruder. The last theory is that there was an intruder that broke into the house and killed JonBenet. There are several suspicions on who the intruder was, which we'll get to later. But the overall theory remains similar. There was a small open window in the basement where JonBenet was found. However, there were cobwebs located on the window. Lou Smith, a detective on the case, showed that an intruder could fit through the window by demonstrating by going through himself.
This is a perfect place to go in, because nobody can see it.
There was also an unidentified boot print found near JonBenet's body in the basement. The boot print did not match any shoe the Ramseys owned.
Inevitably, the first port of call is to establish whether anyone inside that house owned a high-tech brand boot. No one did.
Bill McReynolds. Bill McReynolds was a Santa Claus impersonator and was hired by the Ramseys just a week before the murder. He asked his wife to mix the ashes with a vial of glitter that JonBenet gave him because she was so special to him. McReynolds did not have access to the house, and although the comments aroused suspicion, there was no other evidence found against him. Linda Hoffman Pugh. As the housekeeper, Linda had keys to the Ramsey homes, thus having access. The motive behind the theory surrounding Linda is that she had recently asked for a loan from the Ramseys, but they had denied. DNA tests as well as handwriting samples were taken, but nothing came from the results. John Mark Carr. John Mark Carr, a former substitute school teacher, started to exchange emails with her professor, Michael Tracy, for 4 years and eventually admitted to killing JonBenet.
And what really hurts me is that she stayed there, and that's where her father found her, and it's just a horrible thing.
At the time, he was hiding out in Thailand on pornography charges, and eventually he was arrested. But DNA evidence did not match, nor could it be confirmed that he was in Boulder at the time of the murder. Carr was eventually dismissed from the case as a pedophile looking for fame. Gary Oliva. Gary Oliva, a known sex offender, was placed in Boulder at the time of the murder. Oliva was arrested in 2000 on drug charges, and a magazine cutout of JonBenet, along with a stun gun, was found in his book bag. Michael Vale, a high school friend of Oliva, claims that soon after the murder, Oliva called him and stated that he hurt a little girl.
I heard a little girl. It was shock. It was pure shock.
Vale also said Oliva had sent him confessional letters. DNA evidence did not match, and all other evidence was circumstantial. Michael Helgoth. Michael Helgoth worked at an auto salvage yard outside of town and was in an alleged property dispute involving the Ramseys. A coworker of Helgoth's, John Kennedy, states that Helgoth mentioned he was curious as to what it would be like to crack a human skull. Helgoth killed himself 2 days after the JonBenet death. There is a suspicion surrounding his death as the bullet went through the left side of his head, but the gun was placed on the right.
His death does not fit with a suicide. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying.
No evidence can place Helgoth at the crime.
25 years since the death of child beauty queen JonBenet Ramsey, police are still no closer to finding her killer.
Everyone wants to know who killed JonBenet Ramsey, and the world's not going to stop looking until we have an answer.
The halls with